Hi everyone, Jason Chan here with Traffic and Convert, and on today's video, I'm going to show you how to use Helium10's Adtomic to help you manage your paid ads on Amazon. Basically, I'm going to show you how to build, market, and grow your e-commerce business. Now, if you haven't used Adtomic before, I'm going to show you from the basic skill set to advanced strategies and how I would use it as part of my workflow. So make sure you stick around to the very end as well. I'm gonna have something special for you, some bonuses for signing up with Helium10. So let's jump right in. I might ramble a bit, so you have to excuse me, but let's take a look at the dashboard. The dashboard is a great bird's eye view of of this particular account for your company, how well it's doing, or how well it's doing. Okay, so let's take a look at Ppc Spend here. Yeah, you have your sales, PPC, and then you have your ACoS, your total sales, and your total ACoS. Now you won't see the total information here if you do not have your NWS token installed or connected. Very similar to profits over here. So in order for Helium10 to calculate your profit information at Adtomic, you need to connect your entire account over to Adtomic. If you don't have that connected, not a big deal, you just won't see this information here. If you have multiple accounts, what I love about this is that if you have multiple accounts, or if you're an agency, anything like that, you can manage multiple marketplaces in Canada and Mexico, Vendor Central, Seller Central, KTP as well if you're using Kindle. So it's very universal in my opinion, unlike other platforms that I have looked into, Telex, Techometrics, Celix, Helium, PPC Entourage, PPC Ninja. So I looked at a lot of different tools, and when it comes to the value you get from this platform, it's all there. And I'm going to show you through everything today. So this is one of the features that I like here. You can select different accounts here. Also, if you click on this edit option here, you can select the different accounts you want to have Adtomic to have permission to integrate with. So this way you can manage the PPC here. So for example, if you don't want your Canadian or your listing from Mexico here to be monitored, you could uncheck that here. Vendor versus seller, check or uncheck here at the same time, and it won't count against your plan if you uncheck it. And I'll talk more about the pricing and the plans toward the end. So here's an example of one that's not connected. MWS token is not here. So this is again bird's eye view of the summary of your top 5 products, your top 5 products by sale, spend and sales, your highest ACoS, campaigns, and the spent keywords. A couple of nice graphs here for you to take a look at. You can compare and contrast different metrics, spend versus ACoS, or sales versus ACoS in these different time periods. So if you like charts, I think they did a good job. It's pretty quick as well, responsive when it comes to getting the data, displaying the data pretty quickly, again versus other softwares that I looked into. So that is the dashboard. So let's go over to analytics. This is this is all for the data folks who likes analyzing data. So you have the different views here: portfolio, campaign, ad group level, keyword level, search term, and product level. Most of you probably are familiar with the campaign view, very similar to what you see on Amazon Seller Central, the UI there. You have your spend, sales, ACoS, very high level information. And here you can select different columns you want to display or remove, and you can certainly filter things by different KPIs if you want to look at, for example, things with clicks with more than, campaigns with more than 15 clicks, for example. You can see that real quick here with the filter. Or you could combine multiple things. And then let's say impressions with more than 1,500 impressions, and you can combine things too with more than, let's say, I don't know, 1 PPC order. So you can see that here pretty quickly. So you can't really take any action from here. It's more to observe and analyze your data really quickly, slice and dice it. You can't do anything until you get to the search term level here. So if you take a look at this, you can apply different filters. Let's say you want to negate search terms with 15 or more clicks with 0 sales, let's say less than 1 here. Apply that. You're gonna see everything here, and what you can do here is you can either kind of copy it to your clipboard and paste it onto, if you like to work on Amazon UI, you can hop over to there and paste it, or you can add it negatively from this UI. So it's gonna automatically pre-select different campaigns here. You can decide to select these and say, hey, apply it here if you want for this exact search term, or you could change it to phrase. So very powerful. You could do it on the fly, but I'm not going to do it here. I like to automate things, and I'm gonna show you how we can do that there. So this is basically things you want to do on the fly and just really tweak your searches here. And here it is at a product level. Again, you see all the product information here. So if you have this specific product across like 5 different campaigns, it's gonna Adtomic's gonna aggregate all that information for you and tell you, hey, this product A here has a 70% ACoS. You might want to try product B instead, which has a 33% ACoS. That's going to cost you less, and it has doesn't have higher conversion rate. You might want to find something with a higher click-through. This is a click-through rate, not conversion rate. Does it have that here? It does not look like here. It has it here, but you can always calculate that too on the fly. So this is the click-through rate. If this product has more of a click-through rate, for example, hey, you might want to include that as your campaigns and stop advertising this particular product if it's in the same product variants. Okay, so that is analytics. We're gonna jump over to Ad Manager here. Now I like this in so many different ways, but let me just walk you through one thing at a time here. Ad campaign, you don't see this a lot again on other solutions out there. They give you 2 options: selecting creating campaigns quickly or through a guided method. So I'm gonna walk you through both pretty quickly. Let's say you want to create a quick campaign. This is a sponsored product manual campaign. They have different stages that you can select this for if you want. And you can read all of this here. Basically, this is how aggressive or passive they are with the bid optimization when you automate things. And this is where you actually start selecting different products if you want, or over here if you're connected. If not, you know what, let me connect this real quick to another. Here we go. So let's say I add this particular item here. This is a launch here, and we can click on next. This is where you set your budgets here and your max daily budget if you want. Here, click on next, and this is where you kind of review the information before you launch. So you have to understand that when you create a quick campaign, this is a manual campaign. So you have your auto campaign, you have your research, which is your broad match, performance, your exact match, and then your product target, which is your ASIN targeting for this specific campaign. Now you have the option to kind of automate This is the process that I like to, where you negate things that are not working well, where you can promote things that are working and have conversions. And then lastly, bid optimization, you want to try to hit your target A costs, right? So those are the three things as part of my workflow that I do religiously, and I want to make sure that this tool can work with my strategy, which it does, right? So you can automate your keyword promotion, let's check, bid adjustment, and your negative keyword automation here. So I normally like to turn these off in the beginning until you get more comfortable with looking at the data before you automate it. So a lot of things you should check before you kind of automate it. Make sure you walk through the workflow, and you could definitely change that later on if you want. And if you're comfortable with the information here, you could click on launch. Now let me change this real quick to the guided method. So this is a lot more advanced, if you will. And let me walk you through that real quick. Same thing, test. Let's say I want to launch, select a product here, and then click on next. So from here you have three options. You could decide to add a campaign for your sponsored product, your sponsored brand, and your display. So I'm assuming if you are not brand registered, this will probably be disabled. So make sure if you're brand registered, you should see all three here. And then I'm going to walk you through all three pretty quickly. So same thing from the quick option that we saw here in the top portion. This is sponsored products, and this is where you can actually change the naming convention if you want. So if you don't like auto, you could change that research name. I like to say broad if it's a broad phrase match, exact here, so as to be very clear on what this is. And I just like to use abbreviations for my own naming convention. So this is basically it for the sponsored product campaign. You could toggle the product targeting on and off if you want. So let's leave that on here. And I'm just gonna leave the default bid and budget for now. Definitely adjust your budget to whatever your budget is. So let me scroll down and let's take a look at sponsored brand content. So from here, if you click on the drop down menu, you can select your brand. So once you select your brand, you should have more information here. So display brand name. So if you have one, this is what you want to put down here. Just let me just write some placeholders here. Headline copy. And this is the products, the ASINs you want to promote, and you can select different images here if you want as well. So from here you can say brand store, or you can create selected ASINs. I'm gonna leave that alone. And from here you can select your different landing pages that you created on your storefront. So make sure if you have your storefront, use the brand store. If not, use specific ASINs. So very similar to sponsored products, for sponsored brands you have your research and your performance, which is broad and exact. Unfortunately, you cannot change the names here. Same thing for display. This is product targeting. This is targeting specific ASINs. So let's click on next and see what we can do here. We can enter our own suggested or enter our own keywords, for example. Now if you are very religious on using reverse ASIN lookups on Helium10, you're very familiar with the process of keyword research as well. So if you have something that you want to target, let's say fishing rod for boys is a keyword. Let me add that in there. You could also choose from your list. Now we are selecting search terms or keywords, for your broad match. This is research. Performance keywords is next. And if you want to add negatives, you can certainly do that here. I'm going to leave that as nothing. Performance, let's enter our own again. Hey, add this fishing rod for boys, exact. And then finally, if there's an ASIN I want to target, for example, let's say this one right here, add that there as well. So I covered all three of this section here, the targeting. So let's take a look at the keywords here. So let me see. Before we launch it, let's review what we just did. So we have our sponsor campaign set here. These are the auto, broad, exact, sponsor product targeting over here. The first four. These are daily budgets, the default bids. Here is the product targeting that we did, which is sponsor display, sponsor products, sponsor display, and they are under the launch phase here. If you scroll down just a little bit more, this is the promotion part, and this is the negative part. This is where they negate everything. So when it comes to negation, you can use Helium10's logic here. We'll get to customizing your own rules in just a moment, but this is assuming you're going to use Helium10's logic. And what they would do is, for example, let's say the rule is 10 or more clicks, no sales, you want to negate it. So this would negate it for you for these campaigns right here, without you doing it manually. In terms of promotion, what this logic is telling us is to look, Helium10 is going to look at the auto campaign, the broad campaign, exact, and product targeting. So if it finds this is the trigger, if it has one conversion or more, one sale or more, what this is telling us it's going to do is it's going to negate that search term. Let's say it's fishing poles, fishing rod for boys. It converted once from the auto campaign, it's going to negate it here, and it's going to push it over here to my broad match campaign as fishing rod for boys as a broad match, and it's going to also negate it as an exact because it's going to create another exact campaign for me. It's going to stick it there as fishing rod for boys. So I have the broad match here, I have the exact match here, and it's negating it here, so it's not kind of competing with each other here. And this one is telling us that if we have a conversion with one ASIN for this particular, let's say we converted with this specific ASIN here, what it's going to do from the auto campaign is negate it. Okay, we proved that it converted. Now we're gonna and take it out of that discovery phase and put it into what I call my ranking phase, right? I'm gonna stick it here and focus more money and budget toward that campaign. So I hope this makes sense. I'm gonna explain it more when we start creating our own rules in just a moment. But here's your sponsor brand set campaign. Here's the information. Same logic, same workflow, but you just don't have the product targeting campaign or your ASIN targeting here. So just the sponsor products, your keywords. Okay, so let's jump to Ad Manager. Jump back to Ad Manager. We just covered the ad campaign. You can look at a chart here as well if you want. Let me change this over to another campaign set here. Okay, so this is, let me walk you through this. You could do a lot over here. You could kind of bulk change certain things. You could adjust budgets, enable, pause, or even archive everything at once, or just a couple of select items if you want. You can enable, pause, or even delete certain campaigns here, adjust budgets. And one really neat thing here is you can actually look at the trends. The chart's a little bit squished, but you get a good idea of what the trend is by looking at the ACoS and sales. Again, you have the ability to select different fields if you want, and export this, and again show the charts here. So this is where the automation comes in place. You can decide to automate this now, or if you want to toggle this off, meaning, hey, I don't want you to automate this for me. I want to actually have the last say and approve it before you automate certain bids. And here are the rules. I'm gonna put a bookmark on this page for a second and jump to suggestions, because when you do not automate certain things, it's gonna show up here under suggestions. So if you don't want to automate your bids, you don't want to automate your new keywords, or if you don't want to automate your negative keywords, it's going to show up here and say, hey, we saw 8 clicks, no orders, high spend. It's going to tell you the reason: high spend, no sales. From this point, you can say, hey, you know what, that makes sense to me. I want to add it here, and it's going to tell you when you hover over this icon. It's going to say, hey, this exists on these specific 3 campaigns here, but not on this one. So we're going to add it here for you. And you can apply these changes when you are ready. So let me kind of uncheck that, or you can also decide to, if you want to snooze it. I think it might snooze it for probably 2 weeks, the last I remember. They might have changed the logic here, but if you decide to snooze it for some reason, it's going to be here, and you could probably unsnooze it at the same time. So again, for the bid optimization here, this one is low conversion rates, giving me a reason. So it says, hey, you know, let's knock it down 33% because my target A cost is 30%, and based on the calculation, we need to lower this bid for this particular search term, this keyword. So I hope that suggestion makes sense. Again, there's bid suggestions, keyword suggestions, and negative suggestions. So everything is based on this ad manager that I've been alluding to. So let's take a look at one of these campaigns here. So you can, what I like about this as well is you can actually filter by the campaign name. So you could just click on the keyword here if you want, and you'll see all those campaigns for this particular product. So, oh, one more thing, bid algorithm, you can always change it. Target A cost, which is based on my target value here, or max impressions or max orders. So everything's target A cost for me. And let's jump into just one of these campaigns real quick. These are the rules that I created, and if you kind of dig into this, what I'm telling Helium10 here is not to automate it, but use your algorithm. But if you want to use your own, you can say, hey, I want to negate anything with a 10 or more clicks, no conversion. Please negate it for me, right? And that's basically it for the negation. So let me discard that, and here is an example of a promotion campaign. So if I want to promote something, I'm telling Adtomic, hey, look at these set of campaigns here, and if they have converted 3 or more times for me, I want you to promote it into this campaign right here. So it's looking at through all these campaigns and promoting it. Right, so I have like 6-7 different campaigns that I'm sifting data through, and I want to promote it here. And this is very powerful in terms of helping you save money on your spend. Now here's why. So most softwares, when they create these rules, it's only a one-off rule where it's a one campaign to one rule thing. So if you want to look at your auto, broad, phrase, and exact all at the same time during the discovery phase, these 4 campaigns, they have the same type of placements, assuming that's the case. If you have the same search terms, you're gonna waste a lot of money if you want to have 10 or 15 clicks before you actually negate something or even promote something, right? So what I'm telling, this rule is basically that I'm telling Adtomic to do is, hey, look at all these campaigns for me, because these are all in the discovery phase for me. These are all in the auto campaign. broad, phrase, and a match. I'm still in the discovery phase, and I want to really speed up that learning, and it's going to accumulate all that data for me, and it's going to help me promote things faster and negate things faster. So I hope that made sense. Let me actually create a rule for you here. So let's say I'm going to call this test. This is, let me do a find performing search term, and let's say let me just randomly select a few for us here. So let's say I have about 4 different campaigns here, and I want to, you can either when you uncheck this means you want to use Helium10's algorithm to give you suggestions, right? If you want to automate that, you can automate that. If you want to use your own logic, for now you can always change it. Let's say 10 or more clicks or 15 or more clicks, you can do that as well. So I'm telling it 15 clicks, no automation, using these ad groups, and I want you to negate it when you have 15 clicks or more for all of these ad groups combined. So you know what, let me add a few more here real quick. I just want to show you something. So I have about 6 campaigns here, and this is a mix of ASIN targeting, negation, and phrase match. You can decide to separate these. So if your manual keywords is 15 clicks or more, you want to negate, and your ASINs targeting is maybe 3 clicks or more, you want to start negating, you might have to have separate rules for that, and that's totally fine. You could do that here, or you could combine everything into one here as well. So let's say this is just search terms. I want to get rid of this category targeting for me here. I want to get rid of I have 2 category targeting here, so let me get rid of that. And so what I'm left with here are just keywords. So I want to, you know, I can negate everything as exact from these campaigns. I have a couple of automatic, auto, and a broad and a phrase match here. All right, so I can negate everything here if it has 15 or more clicks. So that's the power of this. I can say look in these 4 campaigns, combination, if it's all 15 clicks or more, delete it. Or you can look at one campaign, let's say this auto campaign here, if it has 15 or more clicks, then delete it from everything else, or just do it for one campaign only. So you different, you know, this can accommodate whatever strategy that you have. It's very fluid, very gives you the ability to really customize your strategy using this tool. So it's very powerful, and I absolutely love the flexibility in this. Same thing for converting search terms. So if you have converting, you know, if I have, you know, let's say 3 conversions or more, I want to promote this here, I can do the same thing here. And what I'm telling this particular logic to do is, hey, negate everything here as let's say phrase match, and I want to promote this to this specific campaign as a phrase match, and look in the first 3 campaigns only, right? And I hope it's kind of clicking. And if you don't have a strategy developed, check out the links below. I'm going to have a strategy session as well, and it's going to really outline the strategy. Definitely I recommend putting your strategy on paper first. Make sure you have the flow and the logic in on paper before you play with the tool, okay? Or else you're going to get confused and you just want to give up. So that's one of the best advice I can give you when it comes to finding your strategy. Put it down on paper, make sure it's crystal clear before you put this into the system, okay? So let me discard that and close this. Again, you can automate it within the rules here. If you want to automate the negation and the promotion, you do that here. if you want to automate the bid, you do this here. So if you hover over the tooltips here, and it tells you exactly what this column does. So I think one last thing here is the, let me see, a couple more things. Change log. If you, I don't have any history here, you can actually do it by type. The auto bid campaign, excuse me, auto bid change. This is done automatically by Adtomic. Keyword change, any keyword change that was done here, it will show up here as well for you. I don't have anything here. So the last column I want to show you, the module is products. Just to give you an idea, nothing too special. It's the SKU, your price, product cost, shipping costs, fees, inventory, and total inventory. Very similar information to profits. Okay, so how much does it cost, right? Let's take a look at this. Right now, let me scroll all the way to the bottom. So which plan includes Adtomic? It's basically only the Diamond and Elite plans now. It includes it basically free with your plan with this subscription. How much does it cost? Basically no extra cost, but when you hit that certain threshold, 20,000 per month or more, they're going to assess a 2% fee over 20,000. So if you are at 21,000, it's going to be 2% of that 1,000, not the entire 20,000 from what I understand. So if you're making 30,000, first 20,000 is covered, it's part of the plan. 10,000 of it will be charged at 2%. Again, I looked at many different software out there, self-service automation tools out there, and this price is very competitive to what's in the market. It gives you the flexibility again remember, you can select or deselect different accounts that you want to be part of this fee structure for Adtomic. So if you enter the code take10 and apply that, this is my affiliate link, and it's going to give you 10% off forever for any plan that you select, platinum, diamond. So if you select the diamond, again, it's going to include the Adtomic for you, and with my special bonus, I'm going to give you a 15-minute session of my time during my weekends and even my weeknights to help you strategize on how you can set this up and get you quickly situated and set up and ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I know I covered a lot. And if you're new and want to learn more about e-commerce, hit the subscribe button below, and don't forget to check out the links as well for additional resources. Any comments you put on the bottom, I'll definitely get to it and answer it. And again, thank you for watching.